What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, for well over a year and long before the fake plot leaks started hitting the internet at the end of last year, we've been hearing about how important Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be to Marvel Studios from some of the industry insiders, where they indicated that this film was going to go a long way in setting up Avengers Secret Wars, and even heard specific details like from industry insider Daniel RPK, who indicated we might get our first glimpse at Battleworld and at some point during this film. But it is much different to hear it from the rumor mill or industry insiders than it is to hear it from top brass over at Marvel Studios like Kevin Feige, who, in the most recent interviews he's been doing about this movie as the press tour closes in on the film's release and the premiere this upcoming week, was able to talk about just how important this film is to the MCU, and he ranked it right up there with Avengers Endgame and Infinity War. We're going to talk about what he exactly said in his quote and what it means for just how important Deadpool and Wolverine is to the Multiverse Saga. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We're still giving away PlayStation 5s at the channel for every Marvel drop. The next one is next week with Deadpool and Wolverine. All you got to do, be a sub, leave a comment. If you want, stick around to the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Also, my band Allfires is playing our very first show in Atlanta, Georgia on September 1st. So if you live in the area or you plan on being in town for one of the million things going on that weekend like Dragon Con, tickets are cheap, only $15 but limited. So we would love to see you guys at the show. I'll leave a link down in the description and in the comments, and if you do come by, make sure to stick around after the set and say hi. I'll definitely be hanging out. Now, this reveal about Deadpool and Wolverine's importance to the Multiverse Saga actually came in a conversation that had greater context for what to expect from the future Avengers movies. This in an interview with IO9 that Kevin Feige recently did that was re-reported by Gizmodo under the headline, Kevin Feige says not to expect everyone to come back for the next Avengers films. IO9 spoke to Marvel Studios president about Deadpool and Wolverine, as well as the rest of the MCU. They go on to say, quote, "If Avengers Infinity War is a 9 and Avengers Endgame is a 10, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige tells IO9 that Deadpool and Wolverine is an 8 in terms of how impactful it will be on the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That means there's a very good chance that whatever happens in theaters next week will carry over to Avengers 5 and 6, which are coming in 2026 and 2027 respectively." Now, before we get to the rest of the article and the other quotes from Kevin Feige regarding cameos in Avengers 5 and Avengers 6 and what to expect on this note, that seems like huge stakes for Kevin Feige to put on this film, and he wouldn't knowingly promise that if that wasn't the case. When you had movies like Infinity War erasing half of the entire universe's population, then you had movies like Avengers Endgame, which was the first time to feature time travel. Undoubtedly, both those movies changed the course of the MCU forever, and even more so were so impactful that every project really that's come since has had to be sort of through the prism or the lens of what happened during those two films. Now you have Kevin Feige promising that Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be right up there alongside them, maybe 1 point behind them for how impactful they're going to be. This obviously, like I said during the prologue, goes a long way in promising this film to set up Avengers Secret Wars and push us forward in the narrative for the Multiverse Saga, which, look, is the main point here. You can get into the semantics of ranking how important some of these films were, and I would maybe even argue that Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness should be up there among them, but again, just semantics, because the big takeaway here is that this film is finally going to do what a lot of the other TV shows and movies in Phase 4 and Phase 5 have been unable to do, and that's press the narrative forward, bring us that much further along in the Multiverse Saga and what's actually going on with that storyline. And yes, there were reasons early in Phase 4 Marvel Studios opted to play it safe, especially with the Disney Plus TV shows, and sort of limiting the stakes that they would have for the overall MCU. But as we got further and further into Phase 5, and especially for a film say like Quantumania, they just seem to have constantly wanted to avoid there being any lasting stakes or really blowing it wide open, which is what this movie apparently is set to do. Now, in the rest of the article, he did talk about Avengers 5 and Avengers 6. They went on to say this, quote, "But not everything that's happened in the MCU in recent years will play a role. On the occasion of Deadpool and Wolverine, IO9 asked Feige about the many characters that debuted in Phase 4. Can fans expect to see them in the upcoming Avengers movies, or is there a chance we may not see any of them ever again?" Kevin Feige said this, quote, I rarely speak in absolutes like that, right? The notion of never seeing anybody again, we've got Tim Blake Nelson in a movie coming up next year, right? So I never talk in absolutes like that. But the truth is, you know, we're going to tell a story in these Avengers movies, and there won't be room for 100,000 characters in it. So choices will have to be made, that's for sure, but that doesn't mean you won't see anybody ever again. And I think this is a great time to point out that Marvel Studios wanted to use Captain Marvel in both Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, and it was the Russos who famously stood their ground and said, look, not only does she not have a place in these stories, but she's too overpowered anyway, and you don't want to just bring her in at last minute. That's why they wrote her out the way they did in Avengers Endgame and had her show up during the last battle. Since the Russos are now back in charge, it seems like they're going to be directing the next 2 Avengers films. I trust them to understand that the story comes first, and it sounds like Kevin Feige's in lockstep with them. They know that not every character, like Hercules, like Clea, every character we saw introduced right at the end of shows like Scar is going to be able to find a place in this upcoming Avengers 5 for the very least, and then Avengers Secret Wars. There's just not enough time, even in a 3+ hour film, there's not enough dialogue in a script to give everybody time to shine, and there are so many characters to work in. For instance, like one we haven't thought about in forever, Adam Warlock, who we obviously want to see as part of the action, but hasn't had any screen time or dialogue since Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Hard to see where his place in all of this would be. Also hard to imagine them doing in Avengers Secret Wars, having Adam Warlock as part of the MCU and then not using him. Lots of question marks still surround what they're going to do with this film. Obviously, no announcements yet with the replacement of Kang, no even announcement for the title, but we expect a lot of that to be answered at the end of next week and during the San Diego Comic-Con announcement. You guys let me know all your thoughts though down below. How hyped does this make you though, knowing how important now Deadpool and Wolverine is to the Multiverse saga? I'm all ears as always, and let me know guys, what are the most important characters who have to make it into Avengers 5? Let me know in the comments quickly. Let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. Alright, we are giving away PlayStation 5s here at the channel. We're also going to do a round of Deadpool ticket giveaways most days this week, and in fact we'll announce a brand new winner starting tomorrow and then for the next couple of days. So if you want to be entered to win either the PlayStation 5, which the next one is at the end of next week for Deadpool and Wolverine's release, or any of the ticket giveaways this week, super simple. All you got to do to be entered to win is be a subscriber, so hit that sub button, then leave a comment down below. Because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. Please remember that all of the winning comments will always be shown at the end of videos live during this segment, live with my voice, so please be safe and vigilant really on any platform, and never give away your information on a third-party app like Telegram or WhatsApp. Remember that no content creator, if you should win a prize, will ever charge you for shipping. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on, and as always, if you liked today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. You can find me in a couple of places, Instagram and Twitter at I'mFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes, wherever you listen to original music under the name All Fires. Again, my band is playing live in Atlanta on September 1st. We'll be announcing some other dates in the US between now and the end of the year, so stay tuned for those. Thanks for checking the channel out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.